Welcome to the Still Small Voice Within podcast. I'm Pamela J. Alexander. Each week, I'll begin with a question, explore a few observations from life, share a story, and see what wisdom might emerge along the way. Today's question is, how do we live in the in-between? How do we navigate having left one life while not having yet arrived at the next? Here are a few things I've noticed while living in the in-between. The first and most striking thing is that the in-between is its own territory. We often think life consists of beginnings and endings, but much of life is spent in transitions. We know who we were, we can imagine who we're becoming. The difficult part is living in the space between the two. The in-between is a real point in time with its own timeline and should not be considered a failure. It's more like a rite of passage, something to be honored and respected. Second, progress and completion are not the same thing. We tend to measure success by arrival. Progress is often invisible because it doesn't feel complete. Healing, growth, recovery, rebuilding rarely happen all at once. And I'm not there yet can accidentally erase how far we've already come. We can't get where we're going without passing by the in-between. So the least we can do is show ourselves a little grace while we're there. Third, bridges are designed for crossing, not living. Most transitions take longer than we expect. We enter a bridge assuming we'll cross quickly. Then life happens. Suddenly we find ourselves on the bridge far longer than we had hoped or dreamed. And the longer we remain, the more disorienting it can become. We begin to wonder whether the bridge has become our destination. And while bridges are often more valuable than we'd like to admit, they are not the destination. They're passageways. Fourth, different people can stand on different parts of the bridge. Someone who has crossed the bridge often sees the far shore. Someone still crossing sees the next plank. Neither perspective is wrong. Confusion happens when we assume we're looking at the same thing. Compassion for ourselves and others often begins when we realize we're standing at different points in a transition. And finally, survival and dreaming are not the same task. When we're struggling, survival becomes a priority. The dream doesn't disappear, it simply waits. Sometimes the job is not the dream. Sometimes the job is the bridge that links you to the dream, and again, that bridge may not abide by the timeline you had hoped. And knowing the difference can help you focus on survival without sacrificing the dream. A friend and I kept having the same conversation, or so I thought. He was worried about contingency plans, long-term security, and what might happen years down the road. I was worried about getting through the next stretch of uncertainty. At first, it felt like we disagreed, which made no sense to me because I was talking to him precisely because he had been where I was. But eventually I realized something important. We weren't actually having the same conversation. We weren't standing in the same place. The difference was that he had already crossed the bridge and was navigating the next phase of life. He could see the far shore, while I was examining what I affectionately call plank number 47 of a bridge he had already crossed. trying desperately not to fall into the river. Getting from where I was to where I wanted to be seemed so clear, but neither perspective was wrong. We were simply talking from different locations. That realization changed the entire conversation. It enabled me to both truly appreciate what he was sharing while mining his experience for the specifics that I needed most. That small change in perspective made it possible for me to ask questions that helped him remember how it was back then so he could help me in a meaningful way exactly where I was. And what I understand now is that perhaps one of the hardest experiences in life is being neither knout nor summit. For those unfamiliar with the saying, it's from the Yorkshire dialect of Northern England. It roughly means neither nothing nor something, neither here nor there, in between. And that's exactly the territory I'm describing. No longer who we were, not yet who we're becoming, not at the beginning, not at the end, just somewhere on the bridge examining plank number 47. And the bridge often looks longest when we're standing in the middle. At the beginning, there's momentum. At the end, there's anticipation. But in the middle can feel endless. That's often where we lose faith. That's where we give up right before we hit pay dirt. Not because we're failing, because we can't yet see how far we've come or how close we're getting. And it's tempting to believe that because we haven't arrived, we haven't moved. But bridges don't work that way. Progress and arrival are different things. Maybe the question isn't, are we there yet? Maybe the question is, can I trust that crossing is still happening even when it feels like I'm standing still? And perhaps another question that follows that one is there a way to track my progress so that when doubt appears, I can remember how far I've already come? I'll stop here. That's enough for one day. One plank, one breath, one step. The far shore will still be there tomorrow. And as always, I'll leave you with a few questions. What questions have you been living? What experiences have shaped you? What are you learning that you haven't yet put into words? And what is your own still small voice trying to tell you? Don't worry if an answer doesn't come right away. Some questions aren't meant to be answered immediately. You can simply carry the question with you. And when the time is right, they'll be there waiting. Thank you for dropping by, and may you be well.